Good afternoon, Packers fans. Aaron Nagler here with your Packers Daily Chat, coming to you live on the Cheesehead TV social channels. It is Friday, people. Hope you're all planning on having a great weekend. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, hope you're having fun and being safe and carrying the G at all times. I know I will be this weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. Before I get going, I want to give a shout out, of course, as always, to our good friends over at Ticket King. If you want to watch the Green Bay Packers play football in 2023, please utilize Ticket King. Don't be using some national folk like Ticketmaster or StubHub. Use a company based in Wisconsin since the early 90s. You can go to cheeseheadtv.com, use our schedule there or on our app. We have individualized links for each and every game, or you can go to the link in the description of this video. Use Ticket King, people. You know you want to see the Packers play some football in 2023. Ticket King can help you do it. The other thing I want to say before I get going, before I talk about Jayden Reed and his big playability, is I'm at a point now where I'm getting ready for training camp, and I literally just booked my flights this afternoon. And before I end up renting a car, which is what I'm going to need to do this year for the first time ever, I'm making a shout out here to anybody in the Fox Valley area who perhaps has an extra pair of wheels, set of wheels, and or maybe knows someone with a dealership with a loaner who needs, say, some free publicity on Cheesehead TV throughout the month of August. Just trying to exhaust all possibilities. I'm going to need a car for at least 1 week while I'm in town. And before I rent one, EAA's in town, a lot of stuff going on, so training camp is kicking off, so those prices are pretty steep. And before I foot that bill, I just want to make sure that I've exhausted every possibility. So if you or anyone you know has a automobile available for that first week of August, last week of July into the first week of August, hit me up. Let me know. In the meantime, do want to talk about Jayden Reed because, man, this guy is a big play waiting to happen. You cannot contain the excitement I have. And you guys here on Packers Daily have asked me many, many times about, who am I most looking forward to? Who am I excited to see? And look, I know it feels like a chalk answer, but I really think this kid can change the dynamic of the offense. Probably not in the exact same way that Christian Watson did last year, but man, the two of them in combo and just what he can do in space with the football in his hand, he is a big play waiting to happen. And if you are a defensive coordinator and he hits the ground running, so to speak, you got major problems. You can't be keying on one or the other, and you can't really dial into what the Packers are going to want to do with these guys on the field at the same time, especially when I think Matt's probably going to utilize him a lot in the Tyler Ervin type role, a lot of orbit motion, a lot of stuff in and out of the backfield, maybe even giving him the ball out of the backfield. I think the possibilities are endless, and you don't have to look very far on his college tape to see what he can do with the ball in his hand and how exciting it can be, especially in an offense where, they do a really good job of isolating guys and getting them in positions where they can make some hay. The Packers really haven't had the type of explosiveness that Reed brings to the table. I know there were some questions when they drafted him about their measurements, their thresholds, if you will, and how he measures up or doesn't, as the case may be. But I'm telling you, I'm really glad they seemingly kind of went outside their comfort zone a little bit there because I do think this kid can be special. And again, you put him in tandem with Christian Watson, you're starting to cook with gas. So I'm as Justice said, you got to put your marker down early, and I'm putting it down early. I think this kid is going to be very exciting in the green and gold in 2023 and beyond. But yes, I think people are going to be really, really pleasantly surprised at what a difference he's going to make on offense in 2023. Hello to everybody in the comments section. So good to see everybody. We got Abdul starting us off with a super chat. What's up, man? Hey, Aaron, can you talk about Mike Sherman, how Mike Sherman got the GM job? It was pre-social media, so don't remember much about the circumstances. Have a great weekend. Perfect discussion for a late Friday afternoon in the summer off-season, waiting for training camp to get going question. The Sherman GM situation was always an unfortunate one. Ron Wolf really caught, I think, Bob Harlan and the Packers off guard when he decided to retire when he did. And, I do think there were rumblings. There had been kind of questions about how long Ron was going to stick around. But I don't think anybody, especially internally, expected him to pull up stakes, so to speak, when he did. And, you know, they gave Sherman the GM job on top of the coaching job, even though, and Bob Harlan has admitted this, you know, later on, that he had reservations about it, but he thought, you know, the continuity was more important than going and finding someone where when he gave Ron Wolf that job, he told him, this was it. You are in charge of football. Well, Mike Sherman had just come on board as the coach, and they had something pretty good going with him and Brett, and the team was headed in a good direction and pretty promising. And for the most part, Bob didn't want to break that up. And probably against his better judgment, he gave him that role, thinking, I don't want to hire someone and give them total football control and have them come in there and fire Mike. Because I think we've got a good shot at getting back to a Super Bowl with Brett. So that's kind of the overarching kind of place things were. And I can't, look, I don't remember a big groundswell of people who thought it was a bad idea, who were probably a little surprised that he gave Mike both jobs, but at the time it made sense because, you could see where things were headed, that Mike was a good coach in Green Bay. I know he did not have a lot of success after his tenure with the Packers, but he was a good coach for the Green Bay Packers. And I think Bob recognized that. And, ultimately, the GM and coach job, it was just too much. It was way too much, and he wasn't good at it at all as far as being a general manager. Took way too many big swings, just really hurt himself with his personnel moves. And ultimately, we all know it kind of fell apart on him, right? But, man, for where they were at the time, I get it. I get why Bob didn't want to bring someone new in and kind of start a new program, so to speak. He wanted the continuity of what he thought looked like a chance to get back to the Super Bowl with Brett Favre at quarterback. That's the other thing. Brett and Mike worked really well together. So, yeah, you end up looking back and thinking, yeah, it's a huge mistake, and it seems obvious in hindsight. But at the time, you kind of understood why they went that direction. William, what's up, man? Thanks for the super chat. Starting off your Packer career with a win against the Bears would be pretty special. Oh, hell yes. Of course, you mean all of the rookies and the first-year starter at quarterback, because we all know that wins and losses are in quarterback stat. But, yes, it would absolutely be awesome. Is Dubose healthy? He looked good on tape. He does look good on tape, Mr. Tundra. As far as his health goes, I know he missed the majority of, if not the entirety of the offseason as far as on-field work goes. No info yet on any of the injured dudes. Hopefully we'll get some kind of information once training camp kicks off. Even when it does, Matt and the Packers don't have to give us any kind of specific injury stuff. But you would suspect that if he's not good to go, he'll probably start on PUP, and that will at least give us an indication of how close he is. But yeah, no, there's no information right now. Rob joined the Carry the G Club yesterday. Thanks for Cheesehead TV and for all you guys do. Thank you, Rob. Really appreciate the support, man. Thank you so much. Hopefully I'll see you on Happy Hour next week. Remember, every Carry the G Club member, every Patreon member, you guys are invited each and every week to Happy Hour. We had our latest one last night. It was a lot of fun. So hopefully you can join us. Aaron says, if they knew Wolf was leaving, they'd have kept Holmgren. Yeah, we'll always have that, right? The what if there, especially since Holmgren really wanted out because he wanted personnel control. And I understand that thinking. Like if Wolf had told them, then Mike would have stuck around. But I don't think it's as cut and dry as that. I mean, in addition to control, Mike wanted to get back out west. He wanted to get back to his roots. So that played a large part in it. And we've seen lately with Devontae Adams, wanting to play closer to home, get closer to family and things like that. I know that's always been the prevailing kind of narrative around, yeah, if Ron would have told them, Mike would have stuck around and he would have been given GM and coach ability. But even with that said, we see how Mike turned out as a personnel guy. Not that great. Not much better than Mike Sherman. So I don't think it's that huge kind of what if / they really missed that opportunity. And also, again, I don't know how real that is because Mike really wanted to get back out on the West Coast. So it is a great what if, though. It is a great kind of narrative thread in an alternate universe, no doubt about it. Sandy, what's up? Thanks for the super chat. I believe in Dobbs so much, I just bought his jersey. Next, what's your thoughts on Dobbs this season? Thanks. Sandy, I love Romeo Dobbs. I do think he has incredible upside. I know he seemed to kind of, I don't know, fall back, disappear, etc. down the stretch last season, but he was coming back from a really significant high ankle sprain. Those are always really, really tough, and they usually tend to linger. I think they've got a real player there, and I don't think he's ever going to be dynamic wide receiver one, but I sure as hell think he can be probably much more than just a possession receiver. I think he's talented as hell. You're never going to be wondering about his work ethic, and I think the ceiling is so high he hasn't even begun to scratch it. And what's kind of nice if you're thinking about Romeo Doubs is those two guys I mentioned at the top of the stream. If you're talking about Christian Watson and Jayden Reed, they are explosive players, right? They're going to be drawing a lot of attention, especially if Reed gets going early. That's going to leave stuff for Doubs. That's going to leave Doubs one-on-one with some number 2 and number 3 corners where he is going to fucking eat. Don't ever forget when he got matched up on new Packers safety Tarvarius Moore there in the preseason game in the slot and absolutely toasted him for a touchdown down out in San Francisco. The kid's got all the ability in the world. And I think if he gets, again, some of those favorable matchups against, some, lower level competition as far as the roster goes, yeah, he's going to eat. He's going to have opportunities. And hell, even against the top flight competition, I think he's going to make some hay. So he'll always be somewhat limited with the, not quite the explosive athleticism you would look for in a number 1 wide receiver, but that doesn't mean he can't be incredibly productive, which I think he will be and can be. Terminal Frost, what's up, man? Thanks for the super chat. Let's send Nags to Vegas for the Monday night game, guys. Here's a start. That is greatly appreciated. So we have a Vegas fund now. Now that Charlene has come through with the Pappies, we no longer have a Pappies fund. Now we have a Vegas fund. I like it. I like it a lot. I'm down with it. Abdul, what's up, man? Thanks for super chat. Why do we do so bad in West Coast games? It's not like we're an East Coast team and the time difference is that significant when you travel. It's not significant, but it's not negligible. I think there's a lot of things that play into it. I don't think for a moment it's just the travel, but I think a lot of things, both the way they play, sometimes the opponents that they've faced, and sometimes they just haven't really got off the bus, as the old parlance is. But I don't think you can ever point to just one thing, especially not just the travel, say the time difference thing. But yeah, there's no mistaking that when they do travel out west, it has looked a bit lackluster as of late. But what makes it tough is that I don't think there's a fix-it. I don't think there's one thing you can point to, because if there was, Matt probably would have done it quite a bit ago. Soder asked, does Doubs equal James Jones? He could. He very well could. That's a pretty decent ceiling for him, I think. Don't forget, Jones led the league in touchdown receptions one year. And he wasn't the most explosive guy, but he was a damn good wide receiver. I think he was a little bit more muscular, probably a little bit better over the kind of middle stuff and things of that nature. But hey, Doubs had a few drops there towards the end of last season. Guess who else struggled with drops early in his career? That's right, James Jones. So yeah, I don't discount that possibility at all. Nick asks, will they play Watson in the slot at all this year, or is he outside exclusively? Oh, Nick, no. They will play him everywhere. They will play him in the slot. They will play him outside. They will play him in the backfield. Hell, they may even give him some snaps in line, maybe standing up, but in line, almost in a tight end position. They're going to move him all over the map. And I do not doubt for a moment that they're going to – you remember, a lot of – hay was made back in the day moving Jordy Nelson inside and Devontae Adams inside. I think you'll see that with Christian Watson too. And look, not comparing those 3 receivers and not saying that, he's going to be those guys, but in the sense that you have a really explosive, talented receiver and you got to move him around and try and get up, draw up favorable matchups, you're not limiting where you're lining him up. There is zero doubt in my mind you will see him in the slot at times throughout the season. No doubt about it. I think Reed gets the slot over Watson. I think Reed will be mostly in the slot, but it's not, again, this isn't Madden. It's not like you have your 2 outside guys and your 3rd guy is always in the slot, or you go to your subs and slot wide receiver Reed and he's always in the slot. It just ain't how the NFL works, especially in this offense, especially in this scheme. Yeah, in fact, I asked Matt about that. I think it was 2 seasons ago, where he talked about how like all the regular rules sometimes don't even apply with their X and the flanker and the Y and the F because they do so much condensed formation stuff that some of those rules have to get thrown out. So I wouldn't pigeonhole any guy as like he's only going to be in the slot. Now, do I think Reed probably gets more slot snaps than Watson this season? Yeah, probably. But that doesn't mean you won't see Watson in the slot ever, because I guarantee you that you will. Abdul, what's up, man? Thanks for the super chat. I know this might be too early asking this pre-camp, but any vets at risk of getting cut? I don't think it's too early. I mean, I think this is the time to ask that, right? I'd be surprised if there was a major veteran cut. Now, you never know if they get into camp and someone doesn't produce and or play up to their ability or what they were expected to, then yeah, maybe. But I don't think there's anybody sitting there on the roster that's going to get cut because of, say, like salary cap considerations or anything of that nature. But it does seem like every year we have one or two minor surprises. It's never going to be anything like Josh Sitton back in the day where we were all kind of shocked when it happened. But, yeah, never say never. But, again, I do think it's going to be more kind of lack of production and or showing up at camp than anything else. And we can't know that until it happens. New York cheesehead. I used to struggle with drops on Friday nights. I feel you, man. I feel you. Oh, hey, New York cheesehead reminded me. If you are in the New York area, mark your calendars. July 20th, Thursday, July 20th, we are going to have a Cheesehead TV meetup to celebrate basically the end of the offseason and the pending start of training camp. Not quite sure where we're going to have it yet. I'm hoping it's at Kettle of Fish, but I'm not certain that Patrick's going to be open. So be on the lookout. Information will be on the Cheesehead TV socials. It'll be on my social. I'll definitely be talking about it here on Packers Daily. But the 20th, Thursday, the night of the 20th, mark your calendars, New York, because we are going to throw down some beers and talk some Packers. Chuck, that's a really interesting question. If you were a younger Nagler, would you be up for a Paper Lion type of opportunity with the Packers? And for those of you who don't know, Paper Lion is a classic book, classic sports book. Would I be up? Yeah, probably, I guess. I don't know. Like, not to write, like to be embedded as maybe like the blogging type stuff I used to do on Cheesehead TV, or maybe some kind of behind-the-scenes video that we could release after the fact, like some embedded type thing. Yeah, I'd be interested. It'd be a lot of fun. But as a straight up writer, I'm pretty shitty. So I wouldn't, I'm a very big time hunter and pecker with the fingers on the keyboard. So nobody needs to read that. But I like the idea, the concept is a good one. And I'd love it. But I don't think that's ever happening. Juan, what's up, man? Screw Corey for showing us his beats while casually panning up to Lambeau Field. He knows what he's doing. Juan, he's setting the scene, buddy. He's giving you a pre-camp look at Lambeau. He's connecting with, your inner Packers fan who also happens to be a bit of a gardener / farmer. I don't know, making this up as I go. Man, I don't know why that would make you upset. That should be a good thing. There's Lambeau. You can never have too many looks at Lambeau, can you? I don't think so. That's just me. Terminal Frost, thanks again, man. Packerman would endorse you for offensive coordinator. Only because I've torn him limb from limb so many times over the years, he's scared of me. Love it. Justin says, really hope Yash can start at right tackle, but I feel like you got to find a way to get Tom out there as well. We were just talking about this on Happy Hour last night. I hear what you're saying, and I, for the most part, agree, but I also would not be surprised in any way, shape, or form if Zach Tom is your sixth guy to start the season. If Yash wins that right tackle battle and they don't really give Josh an opportunity to battle Tom for the center spot and Zach ends up starting on the bench. Now, look, a million things can happen. We've seen it throughout the years. You never really know. And unfortunately, knock on woods, injuries sometimes play a part in solidifying your offensive line. It's not like it never happens. So there's a long way to go. But if it's a straight-up battle, I expect, probably Yash wins that job. I mean, I know people point to the end of last season, but you got to remember, Yash was playing through a shoulder injury. When he was right, he was pretty damn good. And that's not to take anything away from Zach because I think he's pretty damn good. But you give me a straight up battle at the tackle spot, I'm probably taking Yash. But who knows? Zach may come in and just have taken a big jump from year 1 to year 2 and just may lay claim from day 1 and he may never look back. It's entirely possible. But yeah, that's obviously one of the big battles at camp that we're all going to be looking at. There's zero doubt about it. Joe, what's up, man? Thanks for the super chat. Justin Fields was worst starting NFL quarterback when passing from a clean pocket. He ran for over 1,000 yards. Did Packers spy him to keep him in the pocket? I think a spy will be on offer on occasion. I don't think it'll be, every single down or anything like that. You always want to mix it up. You can't make it too predictable. And even if you do, here's the thing. He is so dynamic. It's not anybody's, solid bet that the Packers, whether it's Quay or Devondre or whoever, maybe a safety, doesn't mean they're going to corral him. Doesn't mean he ain't going to shake them out of their boots, He's so dangerous running with the ball in his hand. I'd probably stick to a lot of the stuff we saw towards the end of the year where they play a ton of cover 2, a ton of cover 6, just so you have eyes in the backfield, right? And at least where the quarterback is, and you're not playing man with your head turned and etc. Things like that because, man, he sees a crease, he's gone. And even with a spy, ain't no guarantee he's going to get him on the ground. So, and that's not to, again, it's not to say that they won't do it. I think they will. They'll mix it up, but I don't think it's as easy as set it and forget it. That's for damn sure. All right, buddy, I got to get going. I can't thank you enough for hanging out and talking Packers each and every day, Monday through Friday, right here on the Cheesehead TV social channels. Please do me a monster favor and hit like on this video. Subscribe to the channel, and then tell your friends and tell your family. Cheesehead TV, we are devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. Hope you all have a great weekend. Carry the G wherever you go. I'll see you guys on Monday. Go Pack Go.